Did you know the enemy is not the only enemy? Because to be an enemy, God says you're not a friend to me. So the other enemy can think that they're a friend, you see, but really they're an enemy, and that other enemy is you. I find it kind of funny how a lot of people in this world will claim to love God, but they want nothing to do with Him. Many people claim to want and love God, but they indulge in things that go completely against Him. Philippians 3:18-19 explains these type of people best. For many walk, of whom I have told you often, and now tell you even weeping, that they are the enemies of the cross of Christ, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, whose glory is in their shame, who mind earthly things. Off the bat, we see here that not everybody is a friend of God's, okay? Some people are what the scripture calls enemies of the cross, or in other terms, enemies of God. Now, to be an enemy of something means you are completely opposed of or opposite to. Now, the sad part to all this is that a lot of people who think that they are God's friend are in fact His enemy. Now, how does one determine whether or not they are God's friend or God's enemy? It's simple. All you gotta do is assess these 3 things.
Number 1. Is your God your belly?
Number 2. Do you glory in your shame?
Number 3. Is your mind on earthly things? Now, in this scripture, Paul explains that the enemy of the cross will do these 3 things. So what exactly does that look like? 1. Their God is their belly, describes someone who lives a life where their inner passions and their inner wants and their inner desires is what governs their choices. We live in a society where everything is about what we feel, and because of that, our own self-satisfaction is our God. 2. Their glory is their shame, describes someone who puts glory into things that they should be ashamed about. Again, our society has reached a place where we proudly exhibit ungodly behavior, and we love it, we revel in it, we enjoy it. Think about it. Nowadays, it's all about who can drink the most beer and stay standing. Okay? Who has the most followers on Instagram? Okay? Who has the best looking man or woman on their arm? Okay? Whose lives matter more, blacks or white? Okay? Their mind is on earthly things, describes someone who's unconcerned with heaven or hell, eternity for themselves and others. In other words, nowadays people are so distracted and so enveloped in the cares of this world. We spend so much of our time thinking about what car we're gonna get, where we're gonna go on vacation, about the promotion we've been waiting for, the degree we've been working towards, that we forget about the man who makes all these things happen. Now, of course, it's not a bad thing to think about and plan for these things, but when it becomes number 1 on your priority list, and there's less and less for regard for the bigger picture, that's where the problem arises. Now, the part that gets me the most is the simple fact that these 3 things can be so subtle and take place without us really even noticing them. And the scary part about that is Paul says in verse 19 that the enemy, anyone who is the enemy of the cross, is destined for destruction. With that being said, seekers, please assess and check yourselves daily. Okay, make sure your goals line up with God's. Make sure you're not condoning or glorifying anything that He doesn't approve of, and just try and make sure your mind and your focus is on Him as much as possible. Why? Because God is saying that it's better to be a friend to me than it is to be my enemy. Now, before you go about your daily and busy lives, hit that like button so I know it's real. Smash that subscribe button because you know the deal. And, hit that bell button somewhere up there on your screen so you can stay connected. with us, the family of Seekers.